I usually start these videos with a rant against the bookies, a motivational speech against the evil, corrupt bookies. But we won't be having that narration today. After all, it was just a one pick game. We just had one pick yesterday where we were so close. We were this close to cashing in, but it just didn't happen. Another sharp loss. Um, with that said, though, my name is Mo. This is Tears of a Bookie, where our goal is to conquer the bookies. Our goal is the strategic defeat of the bookies. If you're brave enough to join us in this endeavor, in this journey, in this mission, feel free to like the video and, of course, more importantly, to subscribe. We can use all the manpower we can get, but it won't be easy. But those who join will be heavily rewarded at the end once we finish this also important duty. But with that said, today is November 1. We have a lot of games in the NBA. I got three bets that I really, really, really like, and I'm gonna do full unit plays. It's that time. I think it's time to transition to full unit plays. It's the beginning of the month too. Everything is just sort of calling out to me, hey, it's time to do full unit plays. No more of that half unit stuff. But let's get right into it right now with the recaps. First, of course, it was just one bet. Luka Doncic 30 plus points, and he finished with 29. Man, you cannot make this up. How many times do we have to lose this close? How many times do we have to be this close to winning and then lose by 1 point? Man, come on, come on. Down 0.83, almost negative 1 unit. But like I said, today we're going to be doing full unit plays to quickly go into the positives and just see if we can finally get a first sweep on this channel. Not a mini sweep, but a sweep. We do have three plays after all. Now, before getting into my three picks, I just want to show you this. It's just crazy, man. 4 of the last 6 losses, as you see here, you can see how close they were. Darius Garland under 2.5 threes. He went 3 of 7. Magic cover a 6-point spread. They covered it by 4. Bucks to lose by no more than 10. They lost by 11. Luka Doncic 30 plus points yesterday. He scored 29. I mean, the good side, I like to see the positive in things, right? The good thing about it is that, hey, the reads are good. It's not a blowout loss. It's not a terrible read. The read is right there. We're just getting unlucky. And you know what? We will get the good luck to even out all of this bad luck. That's just how luck works. So it's only time where we go, we will have no more of this real close. Or if we do, if they still end up being real close, we will be on the winning side. Trust me, like we were for Jaylen Brown the other day, but we'll be on the winning side for even more of them. But with that said, let's start with pick number 1. We got a player prop parlay right here. I got 2 players that I really like with these props. They're all going to be alt lines. The first game is in Charlotte, where the Boston Celtics are taking on the Hornets. I remember last year in Charlotte, what a crazy game that was. It went to overtime and the Hornets won back with LaMelo Ball. That made me almost look at a game's bet here, like to go for the Hornets to cover the spread. But I just said, you know what, let's stay away from game bets for a little bit. And I looked into the players. And the second game is in Minnesota, where the Denver Nuggets are taking on the Wolves. I think it's in Minnesota, right? It's a repeat of last year's Western Conference semifinals, but that'll be a great game too. Well, that will be the good game. The Boston Celtics Hornets game, I don't think everyone will really watch unless you have a bet like I'm going to tell you right now. But it's a player prop parlay involving these 2 players, Jayson Tatum and Jamal Murray. Now, what is the bet? Well, these are the 2 props I like for them. Let's start with Jayson Tatum. So here's the bet. Jayson Tatum, 3 plus threes, and Jamal Murray under 0.5 blocks, minus 114, bet 365, minus 14 as of now recording this video. So let me start with Jayson Tatum. As you know here, what we do is we just go in depth into all of these picks and why I like them. Super detailed. So you can go back to the October 25th video, I believe it was, for information on opposing power forwards versus the Hornets, because that's the position kind of Jayson Tatum plays. But in short, they score a good number of threes. This season, the power forwards facing the Hornets are taking a high volume of threes, and they're making quite a few of them too. Last season, Jason Tatum went 7 of 15 in one game against the Hornets and 4 of 10 in the other. So he was above this line in both of them. I should also mention that the original line is 3.5, but this is the outline at 3. This season, Tatum has attempted at least 8 threes in each game and double-digit threes, 11 or more threes to be more precise, in 4 of the 5 games this season. And he's made at least 3 in 4 of the 5. And he's averaging 4.6 threes out of 12.2 attempts in each game. If we take out the overtime loss to the Pacers, he's averaging about 11 attempts per game this season. So a good matchup here. And if I know beforehand that Jason Tatum is most likely going to be shooting a double-digit number of threes, 10 plus threes, I'll go with him to get 3 plus every day. After all, his percentage is close to 40%, damn near 40% this season. And that's the first pick. It's as easy as that. The second pick, though, Jamal Murray blocks. Now, you can go to the October 24th video. That was where I mentioned the details about the block stats of point guards facing the Timberwolves. But that was actually what we used to take the De'Aaron Fox under 0.5 block. We took that for a full unit. It was minus 200, but it was easy. I said it was free money. It ended up being just that. This one might be free money too, and here's why. So again, for some reason, point guards just are not able to block players on the Wolves. It doesn't happen too often. In the 4 games this season, only Davion Mitchell of Toronto has had a block against them. Murray, of course, is not a big block. He's not a big blocker. Last season, he averaged 0.7 blocks, close to 1 block per game, and he is 0.3 for his career. Against the Timberwolves last year in the regular season, 3 games he played against them, and he had 1 block in all of those 3 games. And in the postseason, you might think that, okay, playoff time, right? Players are going to be playing defense more intensely. They're actually going to be trying very hard. Well, he only had 1 block in the 7 postseason games against the Timberwolves. And also, interestingly, this season, he has shown no interest in playing defense or being tenacious about recording blocks. He's had 0 blocks so far across all the games he's played. I think he's played 4. He's had 0, not a single block. And now this is a terrible matchup. So come on, it's just of course this is probability, right? It could happen, but it's just very unlikely that in this matchup, this is the game where he records a block, especially with his history too. When we also take that into consideration against the Timberwolves, because the main roster of these two teams hasn't changed that much, right? And I think why this line isn't juicier though is because he actually had 2 blocks against the Timberwolves in the preseason. But in that game, it was the preseason, and the Timberwolves had all of the main players out. It was just reserves playing. So yeah, those are the extensive details of why I like these 2 player props. I think that, I made a good argument of why I like them. And when you combine them, it's at minus 114. Pretty good odds there too at Bet365. Now, pick number 2. This is another parlay, but it's an SGP and a same game parlay. And it takes us to State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Sacramento Kings are visiting the Atlanta Hawks. It's the East versus the West battle here. And this parlay is involving 2 players on the Kings. I want Keegan Murray to record 12 plus points and De'Aaron Fox 2 plus threes. Give me that, baby. Now, the original point line for Keegan Murray is 14.5, and the threes for De'Aaron Fox is 2.5. But, I feel like they're just a bit too sharp for me. The same game parlay is minus 120 right now as of recording on DraftKings. A full unit play. Let's start by talking about De'Aaron Fox and his threes. Hawks this season are amongst the top 2 teams in giving the most threes to point guards. Last year, for the entire season, they were also in the top 5, so they've been pretty consistent in that. I think it has something to do with Trae Young, but, I don't know. Probably does, right? And Fox is coming off of only 1 made 3 out of 2 attempts against Utah. But this is a completely different matchup here, and he is averaging close to 2 threes per game, which is another reason why I don't really like the 2.5 line, right? I feel like it might be a bit too sharp. You can easily go over it, but it might end up being very sharp. So he's averaging close to two made threes per game and 6 3 attempts per game, shooting roughly 30%. And in the 5 games or 4 games, I think he's had 4, 10, 8, and 2 3 attempts. So except that one against Utah, he's had at least 4 attempts in each game, and 8 and 10 attempts in 2 of these 4 games. And he's went 2 plus threes in half of the regular season games. So 2 of 4. But now what this is why I really like the matchup against the Hawks. All point guards who have faced Hawks this season have made at least 2 threes, and they've had at least 6 attempts. LaMelo Ball made 9 3-pointers against them. Jordan Poole made 6 in one game and 4 in another. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Hamilton, he made 3 threes against them, which for him is a lot because he doesn't usually make that many threes or have that many. He had 5 attempts. I don't know how many attempts he had. He made 3, which is more than he usually makes in games. Last season, Trae Young, last 5 regular season games, previous regular season, where Trae Young was playing and starting for the Hawks, and 3 of 5 of those games, the opposing point guard scored at least 2 threes. So 3 of 5 hit right there too. Last season against the Hawks, though, what about that? Of course, this is East versus West matchup, so these teams only play 2 times, but De'Aaron Fox did play in both of those games. He had 8 of 6. He made 8 threes out of 16 attempts last year in State Farm Arena in Atlanta. But he went 0 for 5 in the other game in Sacramento. However, in that game, Trae Young was not playing for the Hawks. So, like I said, I think this stat here, that teams are just scorching hot from 3. At least point guards are when they face the Hawks. I think it has a lot to do with Trae Young. But here is the icing on the top, as they say, cherry on the top, whatever that expression is for me. Last season, finishing off the regular season, De'Aaron Fox had 2 plus threes in the last 5 regular season games, and in the last 20 regular season games, 1, 2, 3, 20, he made 2 plus threes in 18 of them. Do you know how crazy that is? 20 games is about a quarter of the entire NBA season. So the last quarter of the NBA season last year, De'Aaron Fox made 2 plus threes in 18 of the 20 games. That is 95%, I think, if you want to do the math. So, man, it's just looking really good. But now let me talk about Keegan Murray, 12 plus points. He's averaging about 14 points right now. The 14.5 line, though, it could be a little bit too sharp for me. I already talked about power forwards facing Hawks in previous videos. We had a pick based on that, Kyle Kuzma, and he cashed in with 25 points. Next game, in his absence, Keyshawn George, if I'm pronouncing his name correct, scored 11, which was a lot for him. And Murray, like I said, he's averaging 14 points per game this season, and he's had at least 14 points scored in all games. But he just had one game where he scored 6 against the Trailblazers. Against Jalen Johnson and the Hawks last season, he had 9 points and 13 points. But the game where he had 9, he went 1 for 6 from 3. So if he would have just made another 3, he would have easily covered this 12-point line here. But this is the other stat that also made me fall in love with Keegan Murray's point line here, and it's based on his last regular season games last year. So 5 of 5 of the last regular season games, he scored 12 plus points. And 13 of the last 14 last season regular season games, he had 14 plus points. So, there's this stat for him. There's at least 2 threes made for the De'Aaron Fox stat, and they just look so good together that I had to, put them together for a same game parlay here. So yeah, that's basically it. Minus 120 on DraftKings at the time of recording this video. And pick number 3 is a late night game in the Western Conference. First time we're even going to be considering any of these two teams. It's the Portland Trailblazers. I think they're the hosts. and the visitors are OKC, which already has blowout potential, right? But this is an under, and it's for Jeremy Grant under 20.5 points plus assists, minus 120 on DraftKings for 1 unit, minus 120 as of recording this video. I have to say that I don't want to make edits in the video, just changing the odds because, um, well, I don't know if I will, but even if I do, I will not like have like a little text popping up mentioning that okay, it changed as I was recording. That's why I'm saying explicitly that at the time of recording this video, the odds are blah blah blah. So it's minus 120 right now. Now let's talk about why it's a good line here and why we need to punish the bookies for this. First of all, in a lot of sports books, the line is at 19.5. So DraftKings has it at 20.5. Let me check if it still is at 20.5. Please be, please be. Yes, it is. It still is at, yes, it still is at 20.5. Guys, like I said, subscribe and watch the videos as soon as they come out so the lines don't change. Because DraftKings in a few hours might change it to 19.5 to basically copy the other sports books. Anyway, he is on a cold streak right now, Jeremy Grant is. He's gone under this line in 2 straight games and 3 of 5 of the regular season games. So 3 of 5 hit rate. But get this, the 2 games where he went over this were against the same team. It was against the New Orleans Pelicans. So basically against the Pelicans, he was just destroying them. Against all the other teams, though, subpar, not good performance when it comes to this stat line here. And like I said, he's on a cold streak. I do not see him getting hot against the superior defensive team like the OKC Thunder because they limit points and assists to power forwards, right? Like I said, the last 2 games Jeremy Grant has played, he's at 8 points, 1 assist, and 7 points, 2 assists. So he's not even close to covering this line, and he's just on a cold streak. And what I guess the question is, why didn't I go for the straight line, right? Like straight points or straight assists? Well, I don't hate those either, but here's my reason for that. The straight points line is at 17.5, which it feels very sharp to me. You know, he's had a lot of 18-point games in his career. I don't know. I feel like, we've been getting a bit screwed with these sharp lines, or not necessarily screwed, but we've seen that a lot of times they really are super sharp. So 17, if it was 18.5, I would have taken it. 18.5, I would have taken it. But all of the books were 17.5, and I was like, just that hook there it could get to us. So that was why. And why did I not go for the straight assist line? Well, his straight assist line is at 2.5, which he actually has a 4 out of 5 game hit rate this season. But 2.5 assists really to me seems a bit too low, particularly for a starter that might play heavy minutes, right? Because all you need to do is just pass the ball to 3 of your teammates and they need to make a shot, lay up, whatever. That's it, an assist. So I don't care who you're facing. If you're a starter playing heavy minutes, that's not hard to accomplish, right? So that's why I really like this combo of points plus assists because I feel like one of these two, either the points or assists, it'll easily go under. Like it won't easily go under, but then the other one might be sharp. It might barely go over. So the combination will be under this points plus assists line. That's just my reasoning and how I feel about it and why I'm taking it. I hope I don't end up sounding stupid when this game is finished. But so I really like this combo. Last season, though, he in 3 of the 4 games he faced OKC, he went under. He went under this line. The one game that he went over it, he played 40 minutes and he had 20 points, 4 assists. Against power forwards this season, like I said, OKC is very good at limiting points and assists. Aaron Gordon, 12 points and 2 assists. Patrick Williams of Chicago, 3 points and 2 assists. Jalen Johnson of the Hawks, 7 points and 2 assists. Jeremy Sohan of the Spurs, 17 points and 4 assists. So, except for Jeremy Sohan, that's a 3 of 4 hit rate right there. The other power forwards weren't even close of covering this line. In the last 5 regular season games where Jalen Williams was playing, because Jalen Williams is sort of in the power forward position here, I guess you can also say Chet Holmgren helps in limiting this, right? He's defending the rim and everything, but he probably is going to have his hands full with DeAndre Ayton for most of the game. But in the games last regular season games, last 5 regular season games last year, where Jalen Williams was starting and he played at least 20 minutes for OKC. Here are what some opposing power forwards recorded against him. Bobby Portis, 4 points and 3 assists. Sandro Mamukelashvili, oh man, I butchered that. He's a player for the Spurs. 0 points and 2 assists. Keegan Murray, 15 points and 2 assists. The Knicks also played. They were one of the last 5 teams that faced them, but I'm not really going to count it because they didn't really have a true power forward in their lineup. They also played against the Suns, and KD had 26 points and 1 assist, which I believe is still under his points plus assist line at that time. So pretty sure that's a 4 of 4 hit rate considering those last games. And overall, with all of this reasoning I just told y'all, I like this pick. And it's my third and final pick for today's slate. Guys, let me know. Do you think this is going to be our first sweep here? It would be damn good to start November with a sweep. But yeah, let me know if you like these picks, if you didn't like them, if you liked them, like the video, and of course, always consider subscribing. If you didn't like them, dislike. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.